Hello, we're back, and Bonnie, you're on the line. What can I do for you?
Well, you were talking about exercise, and I'm wondering, I've heard that there's a connection. They used to call it chronic fatigue immune dysfunction syndrome. Now they have a new name for it. It's SEID, systemic exertional intolerance disease. How do you deal with that sort of patient when you're prescribing a certain exercise program, or do you deal with that at all? The other thing I wanted to ask about it is that I've heard that there's a connection between that disease and cardiac diastolic dysfunction. And I wonder, do you know anything about that? And that's what I wanted to know, if you're going to be dealing with things like that.
Well, you know what the beauty of our clinic is the things that I don't deal with, Dr. Reiner does deal with. I can tell you that chronic fatigue is a really difficult syndrome. And I could, you're talking about the heart being involved. I could see how if there was a blood pressure issue or the heart was involved, that you would feel more exhausted because you're not getting the blood supply to your brain and to the areas that you need. But the chronic fatigue, you usually see that in conjunction with fibromyalgia and other issues. And that's a case of where the nervous system and your nutrition has just gone kind of haywire. They treat this with medication, which, if you're in that much pain, you need it. But a lot of times with the fibromyalgia and the chronic fatigue, people will go to bed forever. They won't get up, they won't get moving because they have no energy, and every time they do something, it hurts. So you got to take patients that have these syndromes and just take baby steps with them, because usually by the time we get these patients, they've had these syndromes for a prolonged period of time. And people will come in a lot of times with the mindset, well, I'm gonna go to the wellness center and I'm gonna get well immediately. Well, that, I would love to tell you that we have the ability to do that, but we can't. But what we do have the ability to do is point you in the right direction, counsel you, give you good nutritional advice as to what you need to help with the chronic fatigue, work with your musculoskeletal system and the nerves that are coming out of your spine that are congested as they go out into the musculoskeletal system. And that's where the trigger points come from, and that's where the pain comes from. But it's like putting braces on your teeth. The dentist doesn't put the braces on your teeth and pull them off the next week. It's a time-consuming process to get back to where your health was before these issues started. It's been my experience with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia that usually sometime in my patient's life, there's been a significant trauma, usually to the cervical spine. A severe auto accident. I even had a patient that was hit with lightning. But some type of severe trauma that has set this insidious system up, and you stop doing the things that you were doing. You stop exercising because it hurts. You stop walking because you're too tired. You don't have the energy to get out of bed. You don't eat properly. And these systems are all tied together so intricately. Exercise and the musculoskeletal problem are tied together with your nutrition and your sleep, because if you get the proper exercise, then you fatigue the body. You want to eat the proper food. You want to put the proper gasoline in the engine so that it runs optimally. So yeah, these are problems that the Wellness Center is well equipped to deal with, because we're not just a holistic center, we're also allopathic center with the medical approach to this when it's needed. So yeah, Bonnie, I think that there are probably infinite things that we can at least help you with.
Well, is there some way? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Bonnie.
Do you have the ability to test for the cardiac diastolic dysfunction?
That would be a question that you would have to ask Dr. Reiner, and he will be here next Wednesday. I encourage you to call back with that question, Bonnie, because that would be his expertise.
Okay, I can do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the question, Bonnie. Thank you. So we're talking about health, we're talking about wellness, we're talking about what it takes to be healthy, what it takes, to enjoy the proper wellness that you're looking for. I spent most of my early career working with pro athletes in the pro football leagues and the Major League Baseball leagues in Southern California. And to watch what these athletes do every day to prepare their bodies to go out and perform at their optimum every single day is pretty phenomenal. The exercise, the rest, the nutrition. Of course, there's a lot of money in pro sports, so they're getting the top advice and they're getting the top practitioners and guidance that they can get. But still, even as we grow older, the body is a machine. The body needs to be pushed. It needs to be stressed. We may not be able to run a mile in 7 minutes in our 60s and 70s, but we can certainly walk a couple of miles at a brisk walk in our 60s and our 70s and our 80s. So again, I encourage you to get the rest that you need to be healthy. I encourage you to hydrate. I encourage you to eat the foods that are going to help you be more healthy and more functional. Now, obviously, as you look at me, you know that I don't always eat, as well as I'm sounding like. But I don't believe in being a fanatic about it. I believe everything in moderation. So we don't want to take anything away from you. We at the health center want to give you the guidance and the tools that it takes to just feel better. Hello, Jane. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, yeah, I've got a question if I can find it again. I've got my back report back, and it says I've got a moderate dextrosclerotic deformity, centered at L3 with a curved angle of 11 degrees. Anything I can do about that?
Oh yeah, there's a ton of stuff you can do about that. How young are you, Jane?
Well, old enough, 74.
Well, you're just a baby. That's part of growing older. I mean, people bring their MRIs, they bring their CAT scans, they bring their x-rays into me, and I can tell you anybody over the age of 50 has degenerative joint disease, osteoarthritis in their back. What did you do for a living, Jane?
Oh, I was a food server. Now I'm selling real estate.
Okay, well, you moved into something that doesn't require you to be on your feet and moving and picking and lifting and pulling, which is a good thing. The bad thing about it is you still need to get off your butt. You still need to get to the gym. You still need to exercise. If you're in pain, and that I would encourage you to come in. Let us take a look at it. Let us give you some ideas on what you can do. But 74 years young is no time to hang up the tennis shoes. And there are things that can be done for you.
Oh, okay.
Now, would you say that you're in relatively good shape?
Well, yes and no. I've got other things going on with degenerative in the narrow of the spine and so forth and so on, which is normal, I imagine.
Yes, it is.
But well, yeah, I'm inhibited a little bit in what I can do sometimes.
Okay.
You get the severe hip pain, you got to sit down and relax.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you got to take a break.
So, anyhow, I don't know. I just was wondering if there's anything, you know, I could probably do. Would a back brace, anything help? Or?
A back brace would absolutely help. What the back brace does, though, Jane, is it splints the stomach muscles, the muscles in your stomach. What people don't realize, they come in and tell me, man, I got a bad low back, and I get looking at these patients, and I go, you know, your low back is bad, but your low front is worse. And what I mean by that is they've lost the strength and the muscle tone in their stomach to maintain the integrity of their lumbar spine. So you know that's where we get involved in working with them in doing yoga, trunk stabilization programs, all of them modified for people that have the pathology that you have in your back. We're not going to just turn you loose, you know, in a full-on yoga program, which is another thing that we are adding to our office, hopefully in mid to late August. Is we're bringing in a yoga program so that I got a place to put my patients to help them with their flexibility and with strengthening up their core, which helps the low back. All right, we're going to go to a break right now. Get those calls in after the break. I want to answer as many as I can. Thank you.